how's it going? I'm Marlena. Thanks for wandering by. So today I felt like being chatty. I have like a specific question that you'll know kind of what it is already, I guess, from the thumbnail and the title of this video. This is going to be a chatty one. I think I don't know how long it's going to be, but this is one where I'm not going to be like showing you things so you can like be driving, you can do your chores, you can cook, like whatever you're doing, just like this is like a maybe like one you can just listen to them. I mean, you can watch also, obviously. But like I just wanted to chat because I had this like question that I don't know, like randomly popped up. It's early morning. I'm like on my what second cup of coffee and I wanted to pose this question to you because I think it's interesting. So so what I want to I'm going to pose the question and then I'll go back and kind of like let you know like what my thinking is around this. So my question is like have we are we going too far in terms of the the premise or the objective behind new tarot decks? Have we gone too far? Is it like, and I don't mean too far. I mean, I guess I mean too far in a few different ways, but I think what like my main question is like, are these like, are we being innovative or are we being gimmicky? And I'm curious what you guys think, because I think the answer is probably yes to both. It's probably yes to both. And I think like I knew that the answer was yes to both, that we are being innovative, but we're also being gimmicky. And I don't know that there's anything wrong with either one, to like push the boundaries of what, of tarot, and artwork and symbolism and whatever. But and I also don't think it's like bad necessarily positive or negative to be gimmicky either, because I think that can make tarot decks fun. And that's, like I think I don't want to name like necessarily specific decks so much because I don't want to like call people out or make anybody feel like they're doing something wrong. Like in my opinion, this is like just a discussion about the trajectory of the way tarot is going in mass market, in indie, deck production. Like I just think it's a curious and fascinating topic. So, I mean, maybe it'll be like controversial or something, but like I don't know. I need to like wrap my head around it before like I'm not trying to make any absolute pronouncements about anything. And I don't want to like upset anybody, but I might. So I guess disclaimer, no disclaimer. But what I'm ultimately saying is that over the course of however long tarot decks have been produced, published for mass market, obviously there's been a boom in the last, what, 5 to 10 years. I don't know, like statistically, what the difference is between like how many tarot decks were coming out, like from the, whatever, from the time that they started being published to now. I think I would probably assume that if you looked at tarot, like the amount of tarot deck statistics from like 60s 70s 80s versus like the 2000, I want to say 2016 2015 till now, and then even in the last 5 years since COVID, since the pandemic, um it's skyrocketed with the amount of different tarot decks being available. So of course with like, I mean, I don't want to sound like so technical, but it makes sense to me that with a market that's in high demand, there's also going to be this like um push, or this like kind of thing that happens where creators are going to try to get innovative, or they're going to latch on to like like trends, right? I have I have so much to say about tarot trends, and I'm one day I'm gonna get my stuff together and get my tarot friends together, and we're gonna talk about like more like specific things. But this for me is a topic that I think, I don't know, it's just it's what's in my brain right now, so I want to discuss it. So I think over the course of like whatever decades, and in like for me, what's most relevant is in the I want to say the last 2 decades. I guess we can count 3 decades because my first tarot deck is a 90s tarot deck, but I didn't really start purchasing tarot decks until more recently. But the decks that I've purchased span back mostly 3 to 4 decades. Like I think my oldest tarot deck is from um the 1970s. Obviously not counting like the Thoth and the Rider-Waite Smith. But anyway, I think what I'm saying is about like let me kind of like talk about what I think is innovative versus gimmicky. So I think something like a push for, or that like somebody striving to be innovative, do something new and different with the tarot deck, like with the art, with the theme, with the like the premise of it, like with like, I mean, almost like it's a book, like an original story or something, even though you're taking something that's like a universal symbolic, you know, tool, um and do something like new and funky and different, innovative, like something different, something unexpected. I think that it's natural, like it makes sense that people are like creators are and publishers or and tarot readers are looking for something like that because it's new and different and unique and pushing like the boundaries, maybe even changing the trajectory of the way that people use tarot, because I think that that's definitely happened. So I think there are decks that have done that for me, that I look at them and it's like, oh my God, I never thought that there would be a deck, I don't know, something like um zooming in on like specific parts of the, like taking the RWS, right? Let's start with like, the one that I think is a little bit more like um popular, universally known is the Rider-Waite Smith, right? That's one of the first starting points for a lot of people in tarot. And then like, so taking that original concept, like that original artwork, that original design, and then like being innovative with it in terms of like zooming in on, I mean, there's decks that are doing stuff like this, zooming in on specific symbols, taking apart different symbols, changing it up in like some specific way that makes it new and different and innovative and makes you think of the tarot meanings in a new and different way that can like, maybe not new and different way, but it gets to like the heart of the matter. It like I don't know, makes it easier to read in some way. Like it's innovative. It's doing something that the like based on like this foundational original deck. I mean, and you could say the same thing for Thoth, like these things that are inspired by, or it's something innovative that's like throwing out, kind of like maybe nodding to the traditional systems, or the Golden Dawn is basically what I'm saying, and then kind of going way outside of the box. It's something innovative. Now, that's innovate for me, what I think decks that are innovative. Now gimmicky. So I feel like it's a real thin line. It's a real thin line that you can cross from going from something being innovative and to something being gimmicky. And I think what I mean by gimmicky, there's like a little bit of an ick factor to it in terms of like, is this a money grab, when something is trendy, which is, and I'm not calling anybody specific out, like not at all. Like that's not my intention here. I'm just like interested in the tarot trend and like what's going on in the tarot world. Like that's really like the bottom line for why I'm talking about this. But I'm just like, I think it's, I mean, you can argue that it's like a cash grab, blah, blah, blah. But that's, I mean, fine, like, people do it in all different places, like with trends, right? So like in like books, movies, anything that you can like buy or anything that you can sell, like reproduce and sell, like that's, obviously a thing. Anyway, what I'm trying to say about something gimmicky is that I think there's a thin line between doing something that's like unique, new, different, like changing up the game, versus like having like something that's just too gimmicky, where it like crosses over. I mean, not that it's absurd that it crosses over into being like I guess for me, a gimmick doesn't work, whereas an innovation does. And maybe not, like maybe some of these decks are decks that I would use, and some of these decks aren't on both sides. But I think like if you're talking about like a deck that has like this one feature that makes it like what's different, like it's I don't know, like all these different things. Like, I'm not saying that these decks are innovative or gimmicky. Like, I'm curious to what you would think. Like a deck that's like this, the same as the RWS, but all like, silhouettes. And there's a lot of those decks out there that are just silhouettes. Or decks that like take away that just have just the landscape, right? I have lots of those decks. Is that innovative, gimmicky? Um, the decks that have like the oh I'm calling out specific decks. I don't mean to, but like this seems to me like you can make the case for either. Like those decks that are like the before tarot and the after tarot that show like the moment before what's in the Rider-Waite-Smith Pixies artwork, something like that you can see as like, you know, innovative or gimmicky. Like Fandom decks, you could see, is that innovative or is that gimmicky? Like a Fandom deck and maybe like it's bringing in new people to tarot. Some people think of that as a good thing or a bad thing. And is that innovative or is that gimmicky, because it's just like, okay, we're just slapping, this fandom, sl- slapping it into the tarot. Is that a thing? This deck like has like it being like a narrative, right? Like that is innovative, and it's been done like in a bunch of different decks. Or is it gimmicky? Is this like, are we, I don't know, like, I'm just curious. I'm also curious to know from those of you, because I know I have folks out there and tarot friends of mine that have been reading tarot and buying decks for much longer than I have. So, like, are you like, do you agree with like my trajectory of the way that things have gone? Like, I don't know that, I mean, were people doing like very, like trying to be super innovative and like present this deck in a completely different way? And I'm not just talking about like the art style, I'm talking about like the theme or like a specific premise of this deck is like it's like a thing, right? So that's where I worry that like it can be too gimmicky, and that makes me less inclined to be into it or think that it would work. Like, um there are decks though that I feel like have this like one like kind of singular premise, um that can be anything like that, that have this one singular premise that it's based upon, and then it's the tarot is in and around it, or part of it, or they marry the two these things, and and then the deck like really works, and I'm trying really hard not to like name names. I named a couple, sorry, but like I don't mean to like disparage anybody's like idea. I'm just curious to know what you guys think about something being like, gimmicky versus innovative. And also some of you might really be against like innovative decks, period, because some of you may think Like, no, the tarot is the tarot is the tarot. And like, even if I think about like Marseille, like, which is more like, historical, older, whatever, that like a new, funky, different Marseille might really not appeal to people who are very traditionalist in the way that they read. And they just, like it's the same images, the same kind of colorway, etc. Like some people might think innovation in tarot is not good in general. I'm not one of those people, obviously. Like if you've been here, I have like umpteen good, not umpteen. I have a number of tarot decks that I feel like are innovative. They're like trying to do something different. And is that like something that we keep wanting to see, like, and how far is it going to go? Like, I think in some cases people have talked about like it's gone so far that they don't even really consider it tarot anymore. But then on the other hand, when we're talking about like something gimmicky where it's um, like just hands. That seems like a gimmicky kind of thing. And there's several different decks that have done that. Um, but I'm not sure that if that's, like I don't know if I think those are even like too gimmicky in like a bad way, or like where it's like just I don't know, just like a tree or just like an animal that pops up from the card. Or I don't know, like I think if you've been paying attention to tarot decks for some time, then I think you know what I mean by like a deck that feels like it's a gimmick, right? Like it's just a one kind of like, one trick pony kind of thing. I don't know if that's like a old lady kind of thing to say, but like I guess I'm not sure if those are what how I feel about those, because I feel like I have them and I feel like I like some of those decks. But I guess maybe I think they're more innovative than gimmicky, and maybe other people would think that it's more gimmicky than innovative. And maybe some people would prefer gimmicks because they're fun and it's not all that serious, and it's really just about like enjoying like your fandom, or enjoying like this cute little animal, or enjoying like this other way to look at the tarot. And like they're like, yeah, accept this premise that this is about food, right? Like tarot and food, or tarot and objects, or tarot and what just tarot and fill in the blank, right? Like those things can be seen as gimmicky as well, or innovative. I can never make up my mind. I can really never make up my mind. And that's why I'm asking you. I'm just like curious what you guys think, because are we going to continue to push boundaries? Uh, are we going to continue to create like a singular premise around a deck? Is it going to like peter out? Are we going to like get tired of things like that and like really want to return to like more like traditional things? Like, I think a swing, like I think sometimes you see like a swing towards like older artwork, and that being like a really like a big, part of coming back to tarot, where things are like, looking like more like pre-Raphaelite art and Renaissance and things like that. And I think that that's like those, it's signal that like people want things that are old, like kind of older, kind of older feeling. But I mean, but there's like tons of contemporary art, modern, postmodern looking, art tarot decks too. So I mean, like you can also make arguments about like specific art styles over the years, like, and like collage versus like, illustrated. And now I don't even want to get into like, anything about talking about AI like that. I don't yeah, I don't know. I have thoughts about that, but that's not the topic here. The topic here is like, are we being innovative, Are we being gimmicky? Have we gone too far? I mean, I think, yes, we're being innovative, and I'm saying we as if like I'm a tarot deck creator. I'm not. I'm not. But like our is the tarot creative, the tarot creators, like, are they being innovative? Yes. Are they being gimmicky? Yes. Does it matter? Maybe not. Like, I mean, I think it makes it so that there's more things for more people. Um, but I do think that that you can walk a very thin line, you know. Sometimes though, some things, I'm not gonna lie, some things that feel too gimmicky feel like a cash grab, money grab thing for me that's riding a trend. Um, but some things that I thought were just like way too singular of a premise for a tarot deck, I was afraid that that wouldn't work because then it wouldn't like make sense in like the universality of the story of tarot, which I feel like is the story of us. Um, I didn't think that that would necessarily work, and sometimes then it really, really has. So yeah. I'm just wondering what you guys think. I'm really curious to hear from folks that have been reading tarot for a long time, and also paying attention to like these sort of things that happen. Like, I don't think that it's, and I don't necessarily think that it's new, um, that there's a gimmicks attached to tarot. Like, I think the 2000s is not the first time someone created a tarot deck that felt like it had a bit of a like gimmick to it. I'm sure that that exists from, you know, earlier. Um I'm sure it has to. I mean, I don't want to like, I'm not gonna like go searching for that like particular deck that stands out as that to me. But I think like I think innovation is good. I think that a lot of what I've seen over the last like few years is people, innovating in terms of using their decks like in other ways aside from just, reading tarot, like using it for a number of different things, journaling, but using it as, I mean, it was a game to begin with, by the way. So like kind of reverting back to his original roots sort of thing. But like you know what I mean? Like people working with their decks in different ways, and I do the same. Like I use it I use tarot for creative writing purposes and stuff. But I mean, so I think there's innovation. Like if the premise of the deck allows you to be innovative with the way that you use it, then that's a cool thing too. But that can also be seen as a gimmick. That can also be seen as gimmicky. I don't know. I'm rambly. I kind of knew this was going to be kind of rambly, but yeah. I don't I think there's, like everything else, there's pros and cons. It's, there's positive and negative. There's these decks that I think I would call in my own like decks in my own shelves. I have decks that I would probably call both innovative and or gimmicky, and I like them, and I have them and I use them. So it's not like I'm like above it, or I'm saying like there's, I would never, or I'm trying to like say anything like mean. What I'm trying to do is like, yeah, spark a conversation because I just felt like being chatty about the tarot space, and about like something that I'm not sure we're talking about, because I think we do in some cases talk about these things, but I think we get caught up sometimes in talking about like deck collecting and stuff like that, which is an interesting topic and circles around. But I'm just curious about like being the like the tarot reader, right? So like deck creators are creating decks for readers, I would think. I would hope. um what are we like, like are we okay with like the way that we see things going, you know? I'm sure we do. I'm sure there are plenty of people that talk about this. I shouldn't have said that. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have these kinds of ideas and conversations. I'm just like probably only seeing like a fraction of what is out there in terms of like tarot content. So that's probably why I'm saying that. But I just felt like putting in my little 2 cents, you know, and asking you guys in my little, you know, this little teeny corner where I'm sitting is, do you think, what do you think? Are we being innovative? Are we being gimmicky? And I'm saying we because I'm not a deck creator, but I'm a deck reader and a deck consumer. So like I'm engaging in the purchasing of, I'm involved, you know, like I thinking if you are buying tarot decks and using them, you're involved in like this whole, you know, trend and process. So I'm curious as to what you think. um you know, maybe you have more like solid ideas about, is this a good thing, is this a bad thing? But I don't know that that even matters, like, and I always wonder, like, when you're pushing limits and pushing boundaries and like changing things, like, are, and I think I've said this before in another context about like, if you're getting very innovative with tarot, do you reach a point where you've like now it just gone completely away from tarot? Is it no longer tarot? Have we changed the meanings so much now that it is no longer tarot? Or is it new tarot? And people 20 years from now will look back at how most people were reading tarot and think like, well, that was the old way and this is the new way, you know? Because of these innovative, you know, innovations in tarot. Or or are we just being like too gimmicky? Like, are we, you know, just riding some sort of wave where it's like, oh, what if we do this? And there, I don't know if there's like any real like rhyme or reason behind it. It's just sort of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it was just bubbles? Or, you know what I mean? I think that's like my, I don't know if there's a bubble tarot, but anyway, that actually sounds kind of fun. Um, you know, or wouldn't it be cool if it was just like, I don't know, like, um, it makes me think of like reaching a point of like innovation that does feel like a gimmick, like where, like, you know, where like postmodern artists would do things just like a white canvas or just a plain black canvas, or like that, is it, what is his name? That musician that famously just like walked up and sat down in his piano and didn't play a single note. You know, just like that kind of like pushing boundaries sort of thing. Or like there's also, you know, there's also like a move to be like irreverent, you know, but that's like, I mean, for me, that's like a postmodern sensibility because you're like deconstructing things. And I think maybe that could be what's going on like in, because in, oh my God, in innovating the tarot, like deconstructing things. I think there's definitely decks that are doing that, that are deconstructing the symbolism, that kind of thing. I just find it fascinating. I think, I mean, I do love a rebellious uh style. Like I do love a deconstruction of things, like I definitely do. But I don't, yeah, I wonder like if we travel into the too gimmicky, you know, segment of the program, like have we gone too far? Like are we? Or is it exciting? Like I don't know, like sometimes I'm still really excited about somebody that's presenting things in a new and different way, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know, you know. I don't know about you. It's just curious and fascinating. So I'll stop rambling and you tell me what you think. Like, I'm happy to like have you make a VR or whatever, or just comment down below, or just talk amongst yourselves and your friends. Yeah, like I just think it's interesting. Are we going too far? Or is that just the point? Like, is, you know, is that just the way? Okay. Thank you for hanging out with me. That's, I'll leave you here. with things to think about. Get back to me on it. And thank you so much for sticking with me. And I hope that you all have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye.